You stayed up all night last night being led on by the person you're interested in when you know all they wanted are the answers to today's physics homework. Ignorance is bliss, am I right? Well, how much sleep did you get? 4, 5, 6 hours? How much sleep should you have gotten? That's right, just like everyone else in society, I'm going to break down today why you don't get enough sleep and how you can improve your sleeping habits. My name is Bianchi, this is Define Wisdom. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe before I get the video started. And yeah, why teenagers don't get enough sleep. Now I can already hear the excuses coming. I had a test, I had work, I had this, I had that, my sister was loud on FaceTime in the other room, or a new season just came out on Netflix. I mean, school starts at 7 o'clock most places in the country. How can they expect us to get a good night's rest? I don't know, go to sleep at 10? There's a lot of excuses for not getting enough sleep. In my personal opinion, none of them are good enough. I get it. I understand. You're a busy person with a lot of responsibilities, and sleep is really easy to put to the side, but it's important. And if you got enough sleep, I can guarantee you that the hours that you spend sleeping are going to be made up for in productivity during the day, as well as overall well-being and happiness. Well, let's answer this question right off the bat. How much sleep are kids getting? And the answer is about 7 hours of sleep, according to a study by the National Sleep Foundation. This number is opposed to the 8 to 10 hours of sleep that teenagers actually need. And in the study, only 15% of students got 8.5 hours or more. As for the results of not getting enough sleep, 60% of students said that they felt tired during the day, and 15% said that they fell asleep in class during the year. I always fell asleep in English. I could not focus in that class. Besides overall feeling less tired during the day, getting more sleep can help with your acne, your intelligence, your memory, your physical fitness, and so much more. I mean, I'm talking mood swings, hormones, and stress can all be reduced by sleeping. And that's like the easiest thing anyone can do. Now let's address one of those excuses I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Schools start so early, and they do. A lot of teenagers want to go to sleep late, and that's because when you get into those teen years, hormonally, your sleep schedule shifts about 2 hours from give or take 9 o'clock to give or take 11 o'clock. That means our bodies naturally want to put our heads down at 11 o'clock and wake up, if we're doing 8 to 10 hours, from 7 to 9 o'clock. At that point, most schools are already in session and have been for a couple of hours. This can cause horribly irregular sleep schedules where you might barely sleep during the week and then sleep for 24 hours over the weekend. There was at least a little bit of hope for students. In 1999, a law was passed that would highly encourage schools to start at least 8:30 a.m. Granted, that was 21 years ago, and I don't think much has changed since then. One of the few places that has changed was included in a study by the University of Minnesota, though. The school district they studied pushed back from 7:15 to 8:40 a.m. school start times, and students overall gained an extra 5 hours of sleep during the week, which about lines up with the put your head to sleep at 9 o'clock, wake up at like 7 or 8, and then rush over to school. That makes sense, and it makes sense that teens, when given the time in the mornings, do actually sleep in. They don't spend an extra hour at night and then get the same amount of sleep. No, this is a study here. Yes, when you push back school times, students get more sleep. Pushing back the school start time helped with enrollment, attendance, depression. Yeah, literally depression was assisted. So what's stopping schools from pushing back start times? It's basically a laundry list of bullshit. Bus schedules won't work out, or maybe coaches won't like that their kids are going to practice later, or parents won't like that they don't have a daycare for their kids anymore. And then as for my personal experience with sleep, I've always gotten a lot of it. And I'm not talking like I get home and nap for 6 hours and then stay up all night. No, I've actually taken my sleep schedule very seriously for most of my life. I reach 8 to 10 hours a lot, but I make sure that I get minimum 7 hours of sleep, even in the worst possible case scenarios. And to increase my quality of sleep, I like to shut off all the lights, read a book, and stretch a little bit before I get in bed. This way I can actually just put my head down and go to sleep instead of spending 35 minutes shuffling around because I've been on my computer all day. In the mornings, I hop in a shower, that wakes me up, and I get going with my day. Probably 8 hours of sleep. And this sleep schedule, along with the associated habits, has really gone a long way in keeping my mind and body healthy. But that's purely anecdotal evidence for me. What's the real numbers of the situation as far as test scores are concerned? Not that test scores should be the end-all be-all of whether or not sleep is good. On a study done on university students during finals week, every student that got 8 or more hours of sleep did better on their finals than the sleep-deprived students, regardless of study time. So maybe those late night cram sessions aren't quite working out for you. And if you want to think about it in terms of over the entirety of a class, then if you get more sleep, you'll be more attentive in class, you'll understand more of the information the first time around, you'll have to spend less studying in the first place, more time, I don't know, sleeping, and that time that you were just studying is now replaced with sleep, which not only improves your test grades, but a lot of other things in your life. It's really an efficient use of time when you break it all down. So what are some tips for getting better sleep? First off, have a consistent schedule. You can get 8 hours every night, but if you're bouncing around from going to sleep at 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, still getting 8 hours, well, yes, that's better. Your quality of sleep isn't going to be as good if you went to bed 10 to 6 every single night. That's personally what I do, is about 10:30 to 6:30, but I do know that my body clock is in a way that if I happen to go to sleep at 12, I'll wake up almost on the dot at 8 o'clock. I really have my body worked out like that. If you keep a diary, journal, or anything like that, then write down your thoughts before you go to sleep, and that way you can put your racing mind to rest and actually focus on falling asleep instead of whatever existential dread you might be experiencing in the moment. And of course, like what everyone says, don't look at screens right before bed, but come on, let's be real. That's not realistic. Everyone's always on their phones. Screens are literally everywhere. I have who knows how many in my bedroom. That's not gonna happen. So, I encourage it, but even I don't do that one. Let's be realistic. And guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Pretty short, pretty concise, not too much to it. Just of it is get more sleep. I could make a video going into deeper depth of all of these studies and the science-y part of why you should get more sleep, but I don't think you might be particularly interested in that. The gist of it is get more sleep. And if you're worried that getting more sleep might lead to a decreased amount of time in your already busy schedule, then check out other videos on my channel where I break down productivity tips that can decrease the amount of time that you have to spend working, whether it be on a hobby or school or what have you. And leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you can see more of the content and help me out in the process. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.